Let me call the Muhlenberg Township Board of Commissioners meeting for Monday, April 15, 2024 to order. All please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
Thank you. Good evening, Marcy. I was in executive session to the board before tonight's meeting, discussing personnel matters, and also for the minutes, Commissioner Cerulli had prior obligations to be here this evening. Before we get to the first public portion, we do have a promotion to consider, so I don't know, Chief, if you'd like to say anything, or wants to do the formal legislative action first.
Sure. So I petitioned the board to promote Officer Christopher Hess. He's been a patrolman in the police department for just roughly 20. Yes. Previous to that, he was a Reading police officer. He's been serving the department in the role of criminal investigator. Back in September of 23, himself and Officer Barn took the test. Officer Hess is the last remaining person on that test. He'll be an open slot for a detective. So like that.
All right, well, we need a motion to promote Patrolman Christopher Hess from the list of eligible candidates provided by the Civil Service Commission to the rank of detective, effective April 15, 2024.
So moved.
Second. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. No, if any. The ayes have it, so ordered. Mr. Hess, you're here, somebody want to go out to your family, get the chief and the commissioner.
I was going to swap out that shot.
Promotion to detective, effective this date, April 15th, 2024. Having passed all the testing and meeting all the requirements issued by the Muhlenberg Township Civil Service Commission. By the recommendation of the Chief of Police, Patrol Officer First Class Christopher Hess is hereby promoted to the rank of detective under the authority of the Muhlenberg Township Board of Commissioners and the Muhlenberg Township Civil Service Commission. Congratulations, Officer Hess, on your promotion to detective. I know that you'll continue to serve the community with honor and distinction in your position.
Thank you, congratulations again. We will move on to our public portion of time for residents, taxpayers of the township, comment on matters of concern, actions, and deliberations maybe before the board of commissioners. We do have one person signed in, Shane Lee, I think that's 12 Buckingham Drive.
Yes,
If you could approach the microphone and let us know what's on your mind.
okay. My name is Cheng Lee and I reside at 12 Buckingham Drive. And last year I was having medical issues and hospitalized, so there's a whole bunch of items is piling up for me and I'd like to address it now. Because last year I was not in a good health. The first thing is the Laurel Run Creek, the bridge covered. Every year springtime, I go down to take a look and see the condition of it. And some of the keystones are falling off. from the bridge. I don't know what's the township. Are you gonna maintain it or are you gonna let it fall apart and build a new bridge?
We're not going to let it fall apart. We're working through the engineering process to slip line the entire thing. If you want to pay for half of it, we'd be happy to accept the check. Which you wouldn't want it, but we are working through the engineering process and the permitting process to line the bridge. Our hope is that it gets awarded, we put it to bid and is awarded this year and potentially has fall, if not 2025 construction date.
Yeah, it's still holding.
It is.
Yeah,
It's been there for 200 years, but yeah.
Yeah, but I can see 3 or 4 stones
Yeah.
falling off of it.
Yeah.
And there's a hole from my property down to the bridge.
Yeah, PennDOT performs an inspection every 6 months on that bridge, and so we get those reports
So
every.
you're gonna maintain it too? Or you're gonna replace it?
No, there's so a liner is going to fit in the culvert underneath. And then with knee walls on either side,
Yeah,
and then the liner fits into place, and then flowable fill is injected throughout to hold everything in place and to support the liner.
okay, that's good.
Yep.
That's good to
Yeah,
hear.
so again, that should be they're still working through the permitting process. There's a lot of state and federal permits required.
Yeah,
But our hope is that it can be bid and awarded this year.
yeah, I was not aware of it, so.
Yeah, yep.
That's why I asked you. Second item is, there's also a pipe culvert under the road. And you know where the road overflow from River Road, the same property? Yeah, there's a pipe culvert, a small pipe culvert, and it's been blocked, especially after the repaving of the road. So it's getting worse and worse. Now it's completely blocked.
The basin is in the street or it's on your property?
I don't know whether it's on, maybe it's a right of way, on the right of way, and then there's the culvert, a pipe that goes under the road. So under the road is probably blocked up too.
Okay, we can check into that.
And see, last time I asked, they say, unless you want to dig up the road, I don't think you want me to dig up the road. So,
Where does it come out? Does it come out near your property?
yeah, near my property, you know, where you pave it and then there's instead of the water being on the road, so the water kind of flow into my property.
Are you gonna stay for the whole meeting?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay.
Okay, if you, just to talk with Jeremy before you leave,
Yeah,
and exchange your info, and that way maybe he can meet you out there and you can show us where it is.
yeah, I want to clarify whether, because it's under the road, some of it's under your responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the property line, I don't know where it is, but, it got worse ever since you paved the road.
Okay.
So. Third item is, on 555 Raymond Street. I find out that I've been paying the electric bill for your accessory building for 20 years. So we need to talk and see,
Yeah.
we originally.
Well, I'll have to look and see, check our bills too.
Yeah,
You couldn't say it off the top of your head, could you? No.
yeah, ever since I bought the building for the township, yeah. So it's 2004. So maybe we need to have a,
Yeah, well, if
Conversation.
you're gonna stay for the meeting, let's
Yeah.
exchange, you can exchange info afterward.
okay.
Yeah.
And the last item I have is for 4701 Kutztown Road. I've been denied water service from, I talked to the water department. They say the instruction is from the township. So I'm not sure whether you are overbearing it, because under Pennsylvania Constitution, Act 27, I should have access to free water, access to drinking water. So I don't know whether, why is it?
Here, Steve.
That's gonna come from my department,
Yeah,
as we had thought you putting in illegal apartments in that building.
I
in
paid my
20
fine, or maybe
Right, but for the illegal plumbing has not been corrected, therefore we don't have water come into illegal plumbing.
Yeah, can
By
you
law,
define?
you would- But let me finish, please. By law, you would hire a licensed plumber to disconnect,
It's already,
deconstruct.
yeah, it's already
Right,
disconnected.
but the licensed plumber would do that under Muhlenberg
Yeah.
Township Code and Ordinance. And then you would put the plumbing back to the original condition, and then we'll have the water turned on. We're not gonna turn the water on to 4, 5, 6 illegal units that were inside the building that were piped illegally at the time.
It's gonna be a single family unit, it's not gonna be 4 or 5. If you allow me to have 4 or 5, I'll note it, but
Right.
you probably don't allow me to have 4.
So as per our previous conversations,
Yeah,
you can change the use of that building back to a single family dwelling. That would require zoning, and then it would require an architectural drawing of a single family dwelling. The entire building now will become a home.
yeah, but can you, are you overbearing it by denying water to me?
I am, because the water that would be taken to that property or going into your property would flow into illegal plumbing. It would be unsafe, it'd be an unsafe condition in the state of Pennsylvania, even for just even backflow prevention.
This is,
So again, as our previous conversation, you can resolve this by deconverting those units, removing the illegal plumbing with a certified master plumber who's licensed with Muhlenberg Township, pulls the necessary permits, we conduct the necessary inspections, and then we'll route the water the way it came into that building originally, and then we'll have the water turned on.
I already did the rezoning to, by right, single family residence by right already. And the only other thing is that I need to apply for a permit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I just look for 3 sets of plans, completed permit applications, licensed plumber, mechanical, electric, plumbing, building.
for single family also? Or
Yes.
no?
Yep.
We have.
You're gonna turn that large building into a single family dwelling, and now it's gonna come up with the current 2018 International Residential
Yeah,
Building
the
Code.
the zoning officer that has already approved it, yeah. So the only thing is, the next step is for me to do the permit. So I want to make sure that you're not giving me special treatment, yeah.
No,
Yeah, and on 555 Raymond Street, I have a customer, they to do a daycare out there.
Yep.
My question is, the daycare only taking up 25% of the footprint. And why are you requiring me to, at the zoning itself, to have,
the sprinkler system,
sprinkler system?
absolutely. An I-4 use group daycare above the level exit discharge on the 2nd floor requires a sprinkler out of the International Building Code. It is not my specific requirement, it is the state of Pennsylvania's requirement.
So it's only on the 2nd floor, right?
Pardon me?
It's only on the 2nd floor, right?
There's variables. You put it on the 1st floor and you're still above the level exit
I know,
discharge. And that all your rooms and doors cannot egress directly to grade and be classified as an educational use group. When you're in an I-4 use group, therefore you have a sprinkler. That's the International Building Code, that's not Muhlenberg Township specific.
Yeah, because it's Works Pediatric is down there, so I don't want to do a sprinkler on Works Pediatric. If you want me to do a sprinkler, I can do the 2nd floor, no problem. Okay, but
That doesn't affect the occupants leaving the 2nd floor to the 1st. And this could be a further discussion.
Yeah.
I received the first phone call from
Yeah,
today,
just for
4:30.
a matter of time, if you could meet with your folks, these are individual items that we'd be happy to help you with.
yeah,
Right,
As
you
we
can
do with
sprinkle one
the
floor.
rest of the residents.
So,
okay, yeah.
We'll get back and get your contact information.
Okay, it's a early, we are in a very early stage.
right,
so-
I received a phone call today at 4:30
Yeah,
from your tenant. It was the
Yeah.
first time I'm involved with this.
yeah, I just want to make sure that if you requirement on 2nd floor, so requirement on 1st floor, I do not want to disturb Works Pediatrics in doing another sprinkler in that area.
We can't, say we're not gonna disturb someone and put someone in an unsafe condition. The code says what you're going to have to do, and that's what you'll have to follow, that
Okay.
sign.
Yeah, as long as the
That's the minimum, the least you have
yeah,
to do.
as long as I do not treat me special, that's all I ask for.
No.
Yeah, so you treat me as any other person. Yeah, because I feel that you're treating me special.
No, the minimum code, it's right in the code book.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Mr. We'll get back to you. Thank you for coming.
Okay.
Would anyone else wish to speak under the first public portion? All right, we'll move on to the consent agenda. I'm going to motion to approve the entire consent agenda.
Moved.
Second. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. No, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Any commissioners, staff have any unfinished business? Seeing none, we'll move on to item B under new business, a motion to approve payment of bills presented by the Director of Finance and Customer Service.
Move. Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Motion to adopt the revisions of Muhlenberg Township Emergency Operations Plan as proposed by the Emergency Management Coordinator. Let's see on my list. So that's here. I'll make a motion. I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments?
To the general public, the Muhlenberg Township Emergency Operations Plan, is a multi-page document, that we're required to have. It addresses large emergencies in the township, the train derailment or a plane crash or something extraordinary happens. We have to have those types of plans. It basically covers coordination of efforts between our first responders and with the county emergency management. The updates that are being made to this plan are a number of minor tweaks to upgrade things such as the current population of the township based on the last census. And without scrolling down, I don't remember all the other changes. We're not making major comprehensive changes to the plan. The plan pretty much stays in place. But it is good to review it. I think we review it every, I don't remember how many years we have to do so, but.
Yeah, and there will be some larger changes coming. Justin started in January of this year, and I thought he was gonna be here. Did he get called away? Yeah, he must have gotten called away. He did want to be here tonight to answer questions, but there were very minor revisions made initially, and we do expect the further he digs into this, the larger the scope of the changes will be. So, yeah.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Mr. Bovee.
We received our report from System Design Engineering, which we will make public, we'll put on the web. Well, we put the appendix F up as well. And so if the board had an opportunity to review the document, it is a very large document, it's about 60 pages. There's quite a few, very good pictorials of the flooding event from July of last year, as well as the FEMA maps as they exist, today from FEMA's website. But the key points that, System Design recommended the township look into, is the repair and restoration of a handful of stream walls, man-made stream walls along the creek, most notably along Mount Laurel Road where a Gadian basket wall has collapsed. They discussed floodplain buyouts, which is a very touchy subject for a lot of people. There are grants available for the floodplain buyouts from FEMA. They do, however, require a substantial amount of claims against the National Flood Insurance Program, so we may or may not be eligible for funding there. They go on to discuss analysis of culverts throughout the township that the Laurel Run Creek flows through, most notably through under Hillcrest Road, and again under the rail trail where the creek travels and makes a hard left-hand turn before it continues behind the fire companies. They recommend an inflow and infiltration study by the Water Authority to help to define some of the sewage backups that were occurring. And they discuss in detail stream deflectors that could help to reduce the flooding outside the banks of the creek. The important takeaway through all of this is, and they do discuss it on several occasions, that there is no perfect answer here that is going to guarantee that this doesn't happen again. We can put every single recommendation into play here, and the next storm could roll through and could have just as catastrophic effects as what the storm in July of last year did. We've already engaged System Design to look at some of their recommendations in regards to the culvert analyses, as well as some storm flow revisions. There was one section of the creek that actually did not flow under the rail trail, and it came between Monterey Mushrooms and the rail trail, where there's actually another culvert that drains the overflow portion of the creek. So they're looking at that, and Jerry in the Public Works Department did a bunch of work there already. And System Design is going to look at what further work may be able to be completed there to help reduce the amount of flood waters that leave the creek banks and try to control the direction that it flows. Otherwise, Mark Rossi's office has reached out and suggested that they have funding available. So we'll reach back out to them, get some grant applications in the works, and hopefully be able to put some projects into the workload schedule for this year.
I don't thank Jim for pushing System Design to go further in the report. I think the report is very fair. It doesn't give a one solution to this whole plan. Township can't do everything to avoid all this happening again. You know, when you live near or in a floodplain, and you've had damage before, or you may have damage in the future, you gotta plan ahead. If you lived in a floodplain and your basement was filled and your heater was completely damaged, try not to put the heater in the basement. You could put the heaters a little higher. There's different things you can do. If you live in a floodplain area, make sure you have flood insurance. I mean, we can't do everything up in this board. This is a group effort. I think the report is fair, and I really hope everybody takes a look at the report. It's gonna be on our website. But it's, you know, what happened in July, you know, could happen again, and we have to be prepared for that.
Jim, my only question is, on the recommendations, have we prioritized the 2024? I mean, it seems like the Hillcrest culvert comes up there. Are we prioritizing what we believe we can tackle without grant funding or internal staff?
Yep, and because System Design is on retainer anyway, yes, the analysis projects and the design side of the projects can all be done before we receive any funding. The only hangup would be if the funding allowed for engineering, but the reality is, even if we waited to apply for the grants, to receive the grants, to then start the design work, we're further behind. So if we can spend a minimal amount on the design side up front, receive the grants for implementation, we can hit the ground running. We will have received permits, we will have design work completed. Ultimately, we have to decide whether we have to put the project out to bid or whether it's something that we can do in-house and we can implement very quickly at that point.
So the man-made things that we're going to replace, so the repairing buffers, I guess that's what they're called.
Yeah, and we have some of those projects in the works already downstream, on the Lower Run Creek around Kane Avenue.
Okay.
We applied for funding back in 2022, I believe, and received funding for that. We're finishing up the permitting processes. The permitting process is always the whole.
Yeah.
Well, I'd just like to add too, it is an extremely comprehensive report, talks about the different phases that you have to look at, to an event like this. And it does go into a lot of detail about the specific July 9th storm. And, you know, the repercussions of what happened with the storm, from that storm, I should say. You know, and to Jim's point, you know, one of the things the report does show is that if we put in a lot of these repairing walls, and it goes into detail about how these things work, channel the water kind of from side to side, so it's not just bumping up against one area along the side of you know, the wall run and eroding a particular area. So it talks about how it kind of controls that water. But the report does go into state that if we were to have a storm, again, like July 9th, that once the volume of water that is filtering into these creeks, once it starts to top over the depth of the banks, there's just nothing to prevent this type of flooding from happening again. So, you know, I would encourage residents to go in and read the report in detail. You know, we're gonna do a weekend as a board and, as a township to make sure that we are working on the things that we can. But, it will be somewhat timely. And, you know, we can't sit here and say that we're not gonna have another storm like that, you know, this summer. It's just a very real possibility. But there are also links in the report, for the general public to take a look at, important links that will help explain about insurance and things that you as a homeowner can do to help mitigate, you know, flooding on your property. Again, I don't think all this combined are gonna be able to prevent catastrophe from happening again, but, you know, I know one of the complaints that we've heard is that it's not just the big storms that cause the flooding, that sometimes it's the smaller storms too. And I think these steps will help prevent some of that type of flooding, which is why we want to make sure that we keep moving forward with this. But it's very, very interesting reading. It's very thorough, very comprehensive. So please take time to look at it. And Joey, thanks for getting the link up.
Anything else, Jim?
No, so no action at this point in time, but I have to call into Representative Razi's office and we'll get some funding applications in the works and we will have some action from the board when it comes time to apply. So,
Thank you. All right, moving to E, a motion authorized the president of the board to execute the stormwater management and improvement agreements for the Starbucks project at 3050 North Fishing Pond.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Noes, if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. Motion authorized the president of the board to execute an escrow agreement for the Starbucks project at 3050 North Fifth Street Highway.
Motion.
A second.
Questions or comments?
Nice to see Starbucks moving forward.
Fine. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes, if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to take action on the 5320 Allentown Pike Tidal Wave Land Development.
So I received the formal notification today. The developer who had the property under contract at that location has backed out. And so we need to take action per the municipal planning code so that the plan does not receive a deemed approval once we pass the 90-day time window for plan submissions. So we need a motion to deny the plan for let me pull my agenda back up here. Motion to deny the land development plan for 5320 Allentown Pike Tidal Wave project.
So moved.
Second.
Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes, if any? The ayes have it, so ordered. Motion to approve the sponsorship to the Berks County Solid Waste Authority in the amount of $1,000 for the continued support in the operation of the township's mandated recycling program.
Motion.
I'll second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to award the Berks County Cooperative Purchasing Council yard waste disposal bids to Hopewell Farms for an on-site grinding and leaf disposal and to Berks Transfer for container service.
Moved.
Second.
Questions or comments?
This is a bid that we put out every couple of years. It's a piggyback contract, as part of the Berks County Cooperative Purchasing Council, which is an entity of the CELG, Center for Excellence in Local Government. Different municipalities take on, writing bid specs for different projects. Spring Township, for example, writes the contract for road salt. Muhlenberg has historically written the contract for, recycling the yard.
Any further comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. I think you all received the spreadsheet on the road, request for road paving project for, 2024. So Jim, Jeremy, if you'd like to talk through that.
So we received, oh, go ahead, I'll turn it over to you, give the preface here. We received quite a few competitive bids. Our total amount, was more than what we had budgeted in regards to the road paving project. The low bid was $750,000. We earmarked, $550 for the project. So the spreadsheet that you're looking at, it includes several alternate contracts which are not included in that overall bid, including the driveway and parking lot inside the Riverside Basin, which is part of a grant application, and the trail development project that's there, as well as the Schuylkill River Trail paving, which could also be funded via grant funding. Regardless of which direction we take on any of these projects, we'll have a formal vote at the May meeting. Wanted to get some input from the board in regards to reducing the overall price to a more manageable number that fits within the capital budget. And if you flip through that document on the first page covers Kane Avenue. If we were to reduce Kane Avenue from the project, it would reduce by $150,000, which puts us down to $600.
599, 468.
Go ahead, Jerry, do you want to add in?
So where this all started was Jim made myself aware after we basically do a budget every year of how many roads we're gonna do. We get an idea of what the market looks like with oil, because that's where Blacktop gets their price from. So that came in high. On top of, we added George Street for the reason they are replacing the Bellevue Avenue Bridge next year, which is gonna turn this road, which you've all driven, into a highway. So he thought it would be a great idea to redo this road prior to that bridge being done. So that got added right before we sent it out for bid. So it turned into doing 11 roads, plus the price of Blacktop came in high. That's why it came to $750. Because when we originally did a budget, it was 10 roads, and it was roughly last year's prices with a little percent raise, right around 500,000 is what we were thinking. Well, clearly it came in even higher. So if we take out one road, that would look like Jim just said, 599, 468. By code, you can only knock out 25% after you receive the bid. So we can take another road out and get down a little bit more, but we gotta watch that number, and 562,500 is about where you would definitely have to spend, or we rebid the whole thing and take out a bunch out of the spec and start over, which is another option.
And so with that number, you know, that's about 32,000. So you have Edison Court that falls at 32,000, but you're doing everything around Edison Court. It would be a shame to lose Edison Court just because you needed to get down to that 560.
I believe last year though, you spent $725,000 on roads. And again, we were always earmarked for 550, and we keep on creeping up by it. I get prices increase. And this is why I try to stress to have a capital budget, because you still have to put a thing on. If you wanna spend 700 and some thousand on roads, that's fine. But then police can't have 250 in vehicles and he can't have a dump truck or something. My own suggestion is, whatever you decide to spend on whatever, to try to keep it within that $1 million budget. Because that's doable for us, that's not really, you know, because every year capital does come from our general fund monies. So we may not be building any more to our reserve, we're kind of spending what we're bringing in, which is fine. But once we start going over that, then we're gonna start depleting our reserve.
What's our capital spend without me looking on this year so far? At least,
This year so far, what we spent so far,
yeah.
It would be police cars, 240,
yeah,
Yeah.
240 to, yeah, 5, yeah.
plus we have the duty weapons contract is out now, we estimate that to be about 60, correct?
Correct.
There's a lot more that's coming, I guess. You look at roofs.
Well, we
replace.
don't know where that's gonna fall yet.
Well, the MTA agreement right now is 540, right?
540,
Yeah.
no, 560, isn't it? It's somewhere.
Yeah, when did,
It went up already. So
that's,
whatever
that's
the
what it
next-
was, yeah. I thought it was 540.
It might be, it might be, it's what, 135 or 40.
Yeah. Well, the board can talk to Jeremy and Jim, you know, offline, and see if we voted on separate.
Man, yeah, we'll vote on it today meeting. Yeah.
I mean, just to bring up another quick thing, which would still put us real close to the water authority allotment and stay in the limits of the 25% is taking Snyder Avenue out. I don't know if everyone's familiar with Snyder Avenue is, but that is the entrance to Laurel Lane Park.
Yeah.
We can kind of do that out of operations through item number K on the agenda that you're about to vote on, which doesn't come out of capital then, and then it gets us close, really close to that number. That you're not tapping into, you know, other funds.
Any questions by the board for Jeremy?
Yes, sure, you know, my order for you.
Yes, if
They
they,
might.
Tim's had this list, okay, December already. UGI's had this list in December because they go through and replace all their pipes prior to my paving.
Any other questions? Jeremy, just for my own and the board may have it, but I can't remember, are these ranked in order of time to get done, or is it just ranked?
No, it's just in the spec there, they're just gonna be random, it's not.
We can
no
talk
other-
about the line there, you know.
Well, could be, Jeremy, could you, the list of roads. I mean, I know everything needs to be done, but, could you rank it in an order like, you know, worst to best?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, I can easily have that,
It's a relative term.
and.
Yes, it is.
I have
I have a couple of good ratings.
I have a living document, which I can also supply all you pictures with of every road in the township.
Well, it's just this list. Just if you had to prioritize this list, which one would you wanna see done?
Right.
Which one first? second?
Yeah, the other reason why, when if you've been on all of you have basically been on this board since I've been doing this. And you get a better price if all the roads are in one spot, because then what they'll do is they'll nail you on a gigantic fee to haul their equipment to the other side of the township. So we try to do a spider web effect, so everything on that list literally connects to each other than George Street. So that's what we've always seemed to have done, and by doing that area, that will now almost completely do that entire quarter of Muhlenberg Township is now done under our tenure, the board that's currently, and the employees that are here. So we've come a long way. We're 80 some odd roads we've done in 10 years.
Yeah.
Portions of 80 some roads by this way, but this is the highest pricing I've seen come back on a bid in a long, long time. Like per square yard, it jumped up almost $10. That's a lot.
When is, Bellevue Bridge
2025.
25?
Spring, right?
Take note of that, people, because it's,
Yeah, they'll be on.
But it-
Redone, so.
Bridge over the railroad. But it needs.
Yeah, pretty much it.
The ratchet word talk about that ages ago.
Thank you, Jeremy, we look forward to that list, and obviously, any commissioners, please reach out to Jeremy. Well, we're on the financial side. So moving on to item K, a motion to award the 2024 annual rental equipment project to Sapp and Sons Inc., CMS Rhine Folk Paving and Reamstown Excavating.
Move. Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those of any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to adopt resolution 2024-01, revising sewage plumbing module for the 4536 Soprano Road subdivision.
Move. Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those of any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to adopt resolution 2024-02, authorizing the township manager to apply for the DEP 902 recycling.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Any other new business? Any board appointments? Anyone else wish to speak under this public portion?
None. Commissioner, CR, PNC is back. Maybe else to add.
Sure, we approved your plan, so that's how.
There's pretty much the plan that was given to me hasn't been updated since 2018. A lot of it was just updating the census for, we just had in 2020 to update how many people live in this township. The North Central Task Force, what we used to be in many, many years ago, that dissolved and splintered for a while. Burst was on its own. And now it is part of the Southeast Task Force, which includes Chester County, Montgomery, Philadelphia, Bucks, and Delaware. So that just opens up the doors to get resources, kind of like what happened when the R.M. Palmer explosion happened in West Reading. We had resources coming up from different task forces. And just changing some of the other verbiage to reflect what is going on right now with emergency management and just updating the special interest facilities within the township. That's all pretty much is.
Thank you. All right, staff comments. Bill, since we're over there, Chief.
Not a whole lot, a comment on our activity report, for March, 95 emergency incidents. The bill for the first quarter, 287. I will comment, we recently received our inflatable rescue boat. That was a grant funded item, 100% was grant funded, so there was no cost to the township and taxpayers that now have a rescue boat asset here in the township. A few days after that, we actually had it out in the Schuylkill River performing a rescue for 2 dogs that were down per township side of the cliff. So went to use very quickly. In the coming months, we're gonna get some additional training, kind of get members out on Schuylkill River, get acquainted with, you know, what we potentially can see out there. Lastly, the career firefighter hiring was posted, and is gonna be up until the 19th, end of this week. We've seen some good interest, so we should have good applicants coming up. So that's all.
Thanks, Chief. Mr. Donovan?
Yeah, it's grass season again, so any just a reminder, please groom your lawns, yards. Any other properties that you might see, don't forget about the go to Muhlenberg app. Get it on there, at least get an officer out to look at it.
Next issue of the magazine is coming out, should hit mailboxes, starting this week. It'll also be available for download.
Jake,
Just want a reminder that we're accepting applications for police officers up until May 3rd. Testing is May 4th. The last person who had received a conditional letter, Nicholas Gianna, actually started today. So technically our current list is now done. And I met with the superintendent from the school district on Tuesday, along with Sergeant Sawyer, and so far they're extremely happy with the SRO program, and we got great reviews for that.
thank you. Aaron?
I just want to remind you that Spring Fiesta is coming up on June 8th. We'll be sending out an email asking for volunteers from any of the board members that want to participate. Community members, if you want to volunteer, give me a call.
All right.
We have a planning commission meeting on Wednesday. We'll be reviewing the school district's land development plan, for their new building and, pertinences.
All right, thank you, Jim. Commissioner Lurch, you're first.
A couple of things, I did get to read through the reviews from the school district regarding our school resource officers, and, they were glowing reviews. And, it's a good thing. It's a good thing to be able to connect with young people in township and have a police officer's presence there. You know, it goes a long way in communication to the kids so that they know that, you know, the officers aren't bad guys, they're there to be helpful, and, you know, some of the things that the officers are dealing with and working on, you know, they can get kind of personal, but it's a good connection, it's a really good thing is happening in our township. And just for the general public, the documentation to read through for tonight's meeting was over 260 pages worth of meeting minutes and reports. There's a lot to go through. And I just want to thank my fellow commissioners for, you know, for taking the time to run for office and to sit down and do these things. And I want to thank the staff and all of our volunteer groups for the efforts that they do, and the various boards that we have, you know, to take time to have meetings, submit minutes, and, you know, it takes a lot to run a township. It really does. A lot of moving parts, a lot more than just 5 board members and a few staff members here. A lot goes into it, so there's a lot of reading for the meeting. So I'm gonna go home, give my eyes a break. Thank you for coming out.
Commissioner Howard, that's your next.
Yes. Thank you for everybody coming out. I'm with the fireman board, and me and Alex and Mr. Dillon and that, we're gonna meet with the school district April 22nd, might get a tax break for the volunteer fire people. Might be up to $200 to $500, but we need more volunteers for, you know, our township. We're gonna meet with them, I guess an extra out of the mouth, right?
Yeah, because there is a similar program, that they've had good success with.
Right, we will try to do, what we own our township, get a tax break. People that are on homes, even sometimes volunteers don't own homes, we will try to do something with them. People outside the area too, we'll work on that. But we need volunteer firefighters. We'll work on that. Then the water authority, probably in 2025, meeting the schools are going to board, they'll move down here, right over here, where the Girl Scout office is. Because I wrote move down here, 2025. Mr. Hoover, I would say that is a great thing with the police in Muhlenberg School. On Saturday night, they had a basketball game to see the kids, how they come to the police people there. They ain't afraid of the police anymore at Muhlenberg. Everybody was hesitating to bring them in there. That's the best thing the school did, bring them in there. Parents are happy, everybody's happy like that.
It was a good time.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Wolfinger.
Summer's going fast. I look at my calendar and before you know it, it's gonna be snowing. Seriously, yeah. But, our parks people are really doing a lot. I mean, August 23, 24, 25 is River Fest. Mark it on your calendar. And we need volunteers for River Fest too. The Friday night concerts start when?
June 14th.
I mean,
Every other Friday.
I fell down and nobody put it back up.
the Friday night concerts, I think are really great. I mean, we get 400 or 500 people there a night. And, this year we have some really good bands, so please show up for that. So enjoy your summer and look out for that snow.
Oh, with that being said, one thing I want to thank our emergency management coordinator for going through that plan and needed updated. I would, it's important because you never know when something like that's going to happen. Well, it does to have a solid plan in place, and I went through the process a long time ago when it was probably first done. I think we even got like special cards I still have to get access to the DOC. Anyway, that's how long ago it was. But I think I got them from the county. But I would recommend every commissioner, if we can get every commissioner a copy that they have at your house. Because the only time you hope you ever have to pull that out is gonna be a really bad time, and I think you're gonna be funneling around your iPad to do that. So, if I call the board, can at least get one to keep at home, but it needed to be updated, so kind of, I know that can be quite exhausting. So, I have tonight, everyone enjoy this nice day, and we'll see you next time.